okay, you're saying something that's actually factually inaccurate according to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with.
In a shocking twist, Joe Rogan just set the internet on fire with one wild claim. He doesn't buy the official story about what really happened to Charlie Kirk. On his podcast, Rogan straight up said the whole thing feels off, like pieces of the puzzle just don't fit. He called it strange, full of inconsistencies, and said it looks more like a script than real life. And once those words left his mouth, everything exploded online. Millions started asking if the story they've been told is just another cover-up in disguise. Rogan didn't just question it, he tore it apart. He went after every suspicious detail, including the rumor that police chased a decoy suspect connected to other shady crimes. He laughed, saying the narrative has more holes than Swiss cheese. Then came his biggest point. The weapon, according to reports, the shooter used a World War I era rifle, a gun over 100 years old. Rogan couldn't believe it. He said, "How is that thing even working, let alone accurate enough for a hit like that?" The disbelief in his voice said it all. Something wasn't adding up. And when Joe questioned something, people listen. His podcast sent social media into a frenzy. Hashtags blew up overnight. Hashtag Kirk cover-up, hashtag fake shooter, hashtag who killed Charlie. The internet turned into a full-blown crime board of speculation. Suddenly, whispers spread that people close to Kirk might know way more than they're admitting. Some even started throwing out the unthinkable.
Really?
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost gonna be like, dude.
That his own inner circle might be tangled in this web. Then came the next bombshell. Candace Owens jumped in, and when Candace speaks, the internet erupts. She declared the public had been misled from day one, even hinting that Tyler Robinson, the man arrested after a massive 33-hour manhunt, was framed. According to her, everything the agencies have told us about the Charlie Kirk assassination was a lie. That single quote was like gasoline on a fire. Candace claims she received new info proving the story we've been fed doesn't hold up. She accused law enforcement of twisting the truth, calling their version of events a cover meant to keep people calm. Then she dropped a name, a politician's name. She didn't say who, but the message was clear. The shooting wasn't random. It could be part of something way bigger than anyone imagined. Owens ripped apart every part of the case. First, she asked why Tyler Robinson would turn himself in if he was really guilty, yet never confessed. Then she mentioned those mysterious bullet carvings the police said linked him to the weapon. According to Candace, when Tyler heard that, he looked genuinely shocked. She told her audience he didn't even know what they were talking about. Then came the weapon mystery again.
This kid had a rifle with a scope. Now here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle.
Reports claimed the rifle belonged to Robinson, but Candace said that's impossible because the guy doesn't even like guns. No collection, no practice, nothing. She said it was all too convenient, like someone planted evidence to make him look guilty, and the texts supposedly sent by Robinson before the shooting, Candace said they sounded nothing like him. The words were too formal, using terms like vehicle instead of car, which friends said he never said. But the twist that truly rocked everyone was her claim about how Tyler surrendered. Police said his dad talked him into turning himself in, but Candace said that never happened. According to her, it was actually a family friend who warned the Robinsons that Tyler's name was being blasted as the shooter, and they panicked. That means he didn't confess at all. He was just trying to figure out what was happening before the situation blew up. And then Candace dropped the biggest reveal yet. She reminded everyone that just a week before his death, Charlie Kirk had reportedly announced a massive internal audit inside Turning Point USA. That audit, she said, was supposed to expose a secret rogue department responsible for tracking millions in donor money that mysteriously vanished. She suggested that maybe this wasn't about politics at all. Maybe it was about power and money. Now, when you put Rogan's doubts next to Candace's claims, boom, it's a recipe for chaos. The internet went into meltdown mode.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing.
Suddenly, every live stream, every podcast, every post was picking apart timelines, weapon specs, and private donor lists. Rogan kept fueling the storm, going even deeper, especially about one mysterious man, the alleged decoy shooter seen running from the rooftop right after the attack. Joe said that detail made his head spin. A decoy shooter? That's not an accident, he said. He even joked about flying to Utah himself to dig into the case. Half kidding, half dead serious. You could tell he smelled something bigger, something hidden. The tone in his voice wasn't casual, like it was urgent. And that's how this story flipped overnight, from a tragic event to one of the most controversial mysteries of the year. Between Rogan's raw skepticism and Owen's explosive allegations, the world's watching this case unravel in real time, and no one knows where it's headed next. Because when two of the loudest voices in media start hinting at cover-ups, missing money, and political connections, you know this storm is just getting started. Joe Rogan painted a chilling picture of this so-called decoy suspect, an older man, erratic, unhinged, and totally out of control. Witnesses said that right after the gunfire, this guy started screaming, "I did it!"
So somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is
I did it! While allegedly exposing himself in front of a horrified crowd, chaos exploded instantly. People were frozen in disbelief, unsure if they were looking at a real confession or a deranged performance. The whole thing felt too bizarre to be random. It looked staged, like someone wanted that moment to distract from the real shooter. But here's where the story takes a terrifying twist. Reports claim this man has a long criminal past, allegedly connecting him to multiple national tragedies. His face has supposedly appeared in crowd footage from both 9/11 and the Boston Marathon bombing. The same man popping up around multiple disasters? Come on, that's way too wild to brush off as coincidence. The odds of that happening naturally are practically zero, and the internet knows it. And then came the most suspicious part. Just days after Charlie Kirk's shooting, this same man was suddenly arrested for possessing illegal material involving minors. That arrest instantly silenced him before reporters could get a single interview. Joe Rogan wasn't buying it. He said the timing was way too perfect, claiming the arrest shut down questions before they could even start. The whole thing just doesn't sit right, Joe said. And millions online echoed that same unease.
The narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait. Why are you using such an old gun? That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time?
From Reddit to TikTok, internet detectives went into overdrive. They began tracking this man's background, old mugshots, and travel records, trying to figure out how one person could keep showing up at scenes of chaos again and again. Was he just some unwell attention seeker or something more sinister? Some believe he's been planted repeatedly, used as a distraction to steer media focus away from what's really going on. That theory, the decoy suspect theory, has now become one of the most disturbing layers of this entire case. To Rogan, it proves his point that the official story is patched together with lies and missing details. To others, it's the creepiest clue yet that there's something much darker happening behind the scenes. Because at this point, people aren't asking if we're missing something. They're asking how much we're not being told. And it doesn't stop there. The deeper this mystery goes, the more twisted it gets. While the media moved on after Tyler Robinson's arrest, the public didn't. Online sleuths, journalists, and full-blown conspiracy hunters kept digging, and what they uncovered about Turning Point USA before Charlie Kirk's death might blow the lid off everything. Remember that audit Candace Owens mentioned? That wasn't just a rumor, and it was the spark that set this digital investigation on fire. Insiders claim that just a week before he was called, Kirk launched an internal audit to investigate a secret department inside his own organization. This special division allegedly managed millions in off-the-books donations, running private projects like a hidden intelligence arm. According to Whispers Online, it wasn't about money, it was about control. Rumors say Kirk discovered that millions in donor funds had been rerouted into side deals and political campaigns without oversight. Some of those funds supposedly landed in the hands of powerful consulting firms, firms tied to major players in in D.C. If true, that meant Kirk was about to expose a scandal inside his own empire, and people started asking the question no one wanted to say out loud. Was Charlie silenced before he could speak? And here's what makes it even creepier, like several Turning Point staff members abruptly resigned just before the shooting. No statements, no public announcements, they just disappeared from company directories. And when digital sleuths traced their LinkedIn profiles, some of those names popped up at lobbying firms and political agencies within weeks. The timing felt way too neat to be random. When Candace Owens went live about it, her tone was ice cold. "You don't clean house a week before a shooting unless something big was about to come out," she said. And the internet lost its mind. Comments poured in by the thousands, calling it a setup, a warning, even an inside hit. Candace didn't say it outright, but the message was clear. She believed Charlie Kirk's death was strategic. Then Joe Rogan jumped back into the conversation and things got even hotter. On his next episode, he admitted if Charlie was about to blow the whistle on corruption inside his own group, that could have made him a target. He also pointed out how suspiciously fast authorities named Tyler Robinson as the shooter. Within hours, his name, photo, and motive were already all over the news, even though the investigation had barely begun. Joe shook his head and said, "It's like they had the script ready before it even happened." That one line set the internet ablaze. TikTok, X, and Reddit exploded with people analyzing every second of footage, comparing timestamps, and highlighting discrepancies. Some noticed that the lighting and surveillance clips didn't match the time officials claimed the footage was taken. Others said the supposed texts from Robinson felt robotic, like they'd been written by someone else. The deeper people looked, the stranger everything became. But what's haunting everyone now is why. Why here? Why now? And why Charlie? This wasn't a private attack. It was a public spectacle. Cameras rolling, students watching, security everywhere. It felt designed to send a message, a warning shot to anyone thinking of exposing something bigger. Adding fuel to the theory, multiple witnesses have come forward saying Kirk looked uneasy that day. One student told reporters he kept glancing toward the exits like he was waiting for someone to walk in. That quote went viral fast because it matched the eerie vibe everyone felt in those last moments. Some attendees also claimed they saw men in plain clothes with earpieces lingering near the back of the auditorium. Men who disappeared immediately after the shooting and were never identified. Then came the Bombshell leak. A snippet from a local police radio log revealed that officers at the scene initially described 2 suspects, not 1. The second was cleared within an hour and has never been mentioned publicly since. The dispatch logs vanished from the internet, but not before online users grabbed screenshots. So who was that second suspect, and why did he disappear from the story so fast? Candace Owens slammed her hand on her desk during a live stream saying, "It's like we're watching a movie unfold and they expect us not to notice the plot holes." Her tone was fiery, accusing federal agencies of protecting someone powerful. Her viewers flooded the chat, half cheering her bravery, half warning her to stay safe. Meanwhile, Rogan's fans were busy cross-checking court records and news archives. Then came another shock. Several files linked to the case had been sealed. Even the ballistic report, which should have been public, was classified within 3 days. Joe said, "When they start hiding evidence that fast, that's not justice, that's control." And that line? It reignited the entire conversation all over again. Now, people aren't just looking at this case. They're spotting patterns. They're comparing Charlie Kirk's death to past incidents where public figures turned against their own organizations and then mysteriously ended up gone or silenced. Those whispers are spreading fast, and it's sending chills through every corner of the internet. Threads are filling with side-by-side breakdowns of whistleblowers who also died under unclear circumstances. It's eerie, it's bold, and it's starting to look like history might be repeating itself. To make things even stranger, mainstream outlets have started quietly editing their early coverage. Headlines that once screamed lone gunman now say things like suspect in custody pending review. The edits are sneaky, but people caught on quick. Screenshots of those changes are everywhere, fueling outrage. "Why change the story unless you're hiding something?" one viral tweet said. And that question has haunted this case ever since. But the biggest red flag? The silence from Turning Point USA itself. Besides one short statement mourning Charlie's death, the organization has gone completely mute. No update on the audit. No mention of missing funds. No talk about the decoy suspect or the sealed evidence. Nothing. For many, that silence screams louder than any official response ever could. Right now, the official story looks like a shattered mirror. Bits of truth mixed with gaps, contradictions, and confusion. Between Joe Rogan's relentless skepticism and Candace Owens' fiery accusations, this case is unraveling like a thriller in real time. Every new detail adds another crack to the narrative, making people wonder if something far darker is lurking beneath the surface. Because at this point, it's not just about a shooting, it's about power, money, and the ugly truth that follows both. Somewhere between the lies, the silence, and the missing pieces, someone out there knows exactly what really happened to Charlie Kirk. And just when you thought this story couldn't twist any further, it did. The internet exploded again, this time with rumors about Charlie's wife. After his passing, she stepped right into his role as CEO of Turning Point USA, and the timing couldn't have been more suspicious. Was she a grieving widow trying to keep his dream alive, or was this a plan that had been in motion long before he was gone? Online investigators didn't hold back. They began digging through old photos, social events, and leaked emails, uncovering possible political connections that link her to powerful donors and insiders. The whispers say her rise to power wasn't coincidence. It was strategy. And at the center of it all is a memo Charlie reportedly signed on September 2nd, just 8 days before the tragedy. That memo named Justin Street as the new COO and ordered him to lead the DOGE initiative, a massive audit designed to trace millions in Turning Point funding. According to insiders, the audit would have shaken the foundation of the entire organization. When you connect that memo to his sudden death just days later, it's hard not to feel a chill. Candace Owens went off during her broadcast saying Charlie was under immense pressure from political and financial forces before the shooting. She even accused billionaire investor Bill Ackman of trying to manipulate him over his public positions on Israel and internal Turning Point issues. Ackman denied everything, calling the accusations absurd and false, but Candace's claim reignited the firestorm, and millions are still dissecting every word. The idea that Charlie Kirk might have been targeted to protect bigger interests is spreading like wildfire. Some say his wife knew more about the audit than she's admitting. Others think she might have been caught in the middle of something she couldn't control. The debate's fierce, the theories are messy, and every photo of her funeral appearance just keeps the internet buzzing. Clips from that day show her calm, polished, almost emotionless demeanor, and users jumped all over it. Some accused her of looking too composed, saying her tears seemed performed. There's zero proof behind those claims, but once a theory catches fire online, it's unstoppable, especially when she returned to work so quickly, stepping right into the CEO chair before the public even processed what happened. Now, this tragedy feels more like a chess game. Every move, every silence, every headline calculated for impact. And the story keeps spiraling deeper. Because as Joe Rogan keeps saying, the timeline just doesn't make sense. Let's talk about those glaring inconsistencies. According to the official report, the shooter managed to sneak onto a secured rooftop at Utah Valley University without a single guard noticing during a live event packed with security and cameras. How? Then the footage we do have? It's shaky, incomplete, and conveniently cuts at the most important moments. Some clips show a person strolling away calmly, not running like police described. Others are cropped so tight that no one can even tell who's who. And that bizarre decoy suspect, the same older man shouting, I did it, right after the gunfire, only to be arrested days later on totally unrelated charges. Too convenient. That timing shut down questions before anyone could talk to him. Rogan called it way too neat, saying it felt like someone cleaned up the mess before journalists could even dig in. Social media has now turned into one massive detective board. People are connecting dots between the September memo, the outdated rifle, the sealed files, and the leadership reshuffle inside Turning Point. None of it adds up cleanly, and that's exactly what makes it all so suspicious. Some even think the chaos itself was the plan, a staged disaster meant to distract while bigger players erase their tracks behind the scenes. Every day, more leaks, clips, and hidden documents pop up, deepening the mystery instead of solving it. And as the smoke thickens, what once looked like a random act of violence now feels like something orchestrated, deliberate, precise, and meant to send a message. So now everyone's asking the same question. Was this truly just a tragic shooting, or was it a move in a much bigger game? What do you think? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to stay on top of the next chapter of this wild investigation. See you on the next one.